What will it take to sell my house after I die? That is a great question because you can save your loved ones a lot of hassle if you plan ahead. What will happen to your house after you die depends on a few things. First of all, if your house is not in trust. If you have your home or any real estate in your estate, a probate will need to be opened so that the real estate can be sold or transferred. Probate is simply the court process by which property is transferred out of the decedent's name into the name of other people. Now, if you have a home in Minnesota and a cabin in Wisconsin, you will need to have an ancillary jurisdiction probate in Wisconsin as well as in Minnesota separately. That means hiring an attorney to draft the proper documents, get them filed with the court, publish notice for 2 weeks, obtain Medicaid clearance, and provide notice to interested parties. After affidavits are filed with the court proving all that was done, the court will issue what's called letters testamentary to the personal representative, who will then have authority to go ahead and sell the house. One way that people like to get around probate with real estate is to use a transfer on death deed, otherwise known as a TOD. With a TOD, ahead of time, you will say that you're transferring the property to a certain person or persons upon your death. Then, if all goes well, and this is recorded prior to your death, then certain papers need to be filed with the county recorder, and the property will transfer to the people you designated without having to open a probate. When this works well, it works great. However, there are a few concerns with TODs. For example, one of the concerns that we've seen come up with TODs occurs when there is more than one beneficiary receiving the house. The way this works is as follows. Let's say you left the house to your 3 children and they were all married. All 3 of your children and their spouses are going to need to cooperate on deciding if and when to sell the house, who to hire as a realtor, the selling price, what to do to clean it out and fix it up, and listing it and selling it, all the issues. And then they will all need to sign the deed in order to sell the house. There is not just one person in charge because there's no personal representative or probate. There's also no money allocated to pay the expenses for the house until it's sold. So the family members will need to come up with some kind of arrangement to pitch in their money to pay the expenses and agree on everything. As you can imagine, this does not always work well. So if you have more than one beneficiary, you might want to think about using a TOD. It may not always be the best solution. Now, if your house is in trust before you pass away, this is the smoothest way to transfer property. The trustee will have the authority to transfer the house and make the decisions, put it on the market, sell it, and distribute the funds as you designated without having to go to court. The lack of court involvement saves at least 2 months, as well as expenses, time, and hassle. The only issue to remember if you have an estate that mostly includes your home is that you also want to have enough money in the trust for the trustee to keep paying the house expenses until it's sold and the cash out of the house materializes. So having your house in trust is the best way to not only avoid probate, but also make sure your house or other real estate goes who you want it to go to in the way you want it to go. If complications arise or beneficiaries unexpectedly predecease you, normally all of that can be resolved the way you want it resolved without going to court. So those are the 3 ways to transfer your home after you pass away. Regardless of what you choose is best in your situation, it's important to plan ahead and have the documents done properly. We are happy to educate you further so that you can decide what is best for you and your loved ones. Please call us today for a life and legacy session with a client relations specialist so we can answer more of your burning questions about how to not leave a mess for your loved ones.